San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Welcome into the Braden Surprenant Show. I'm Braden Surprenant, live from the Loft here at the Western Metal Supply Company building as we get you ready for Padres and Dodgers, Game 3 of the three-game series between the two National League West foes. Sam Levitt will take over for me coming up at about 12:10. It's a 1:10 start. 12:10, Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show. First pitch coming up at 1:10 as the Padres will be throwing Randy Vasquez to try to win a series over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Going against Vasquez in reality will be Wroblewski. He's not going to pitch the first inning, but he will have the majority of the innings today for the Los Angeles Dodgers as the Padres try to build off of a big win yesterday, winning 11-1. Now, overall, when the Padres win 11-1, you thoroughly enjoy it. I mean, I was out here. I sat in section 309 yesterday. My buddy Johnny had an extra seat, and he said, "You want to go to the game?" I said, "Absolutely." Even though I don't really like going to Padres-Dodgers games too much, just because of it's a different. You got to be on your edge a little bit more. So my buddy Johnny's in the chat. Had an extra ticket. Went down to the ballpark, met him down there. Sat in 309, row one. That was a great. Those are better seats than people think. The 309 row one. The first row of the 300s is actually pretty good. So you get to see everything. And so I got there and watched the game, and it was a fun game because the Padres. I mean, you put up 11 runs against LA and win 11-1. It's got to be great. But at the same time, I mean, it's not as exciting, obviously, as the game that you had the night before. I don't know if Jackson Merrill said that game was sick just as much as he did on Monday about the game, even though it was a loss. I thought overall it was kind of it's kind of flat because you go out there and you kick somebody's ass. But you know what? You can't complain about ass kickings too much. And for my team, I had this philosophy. I remember I used to say this even as a kid. In terms of watching games, and maybe I'm wrong here, but in terms of watching games, I would rather have my team absolutely destroy their opponent than have it be a close game and I have to drag it out. I don't mind those games as long as my team wins, and I've talked about this before, you just want your team to win. Do you need to go through the added stretch if you don't need to? So for me, I mean, you get to enjoy it. But like if I was watching that game from afar, it would have been boring. And then the Dodgers go out there and throw Kike Hernandez in the sixth inning. God, dude, that's Bush League, dude. I can't get behind that at all. Throwing a position player in the sixth inning. I mean, I get it in like the eighth or the ninth inning. You know, maybe the last out of the eighth inning, going into and then the ninth inning because you don't have any pitching left. Fine, but I mean, come on, what a precedent we're setting here in Major League Baseball. I mean, that was a mockery of the game. I thought. Maybe you thought a little bit differently. I mean, there's people in the stands that thought it was great. I mean, I don't. You spend like hundreds of dollars going to a game, and then the other team decides to throw Kike Hernandez. Utterly ridiculous. But overall, you saw last night. We're going to get into this topic a little bit later in the show. I thought it was laid out perfectly by Kevin Acee this morning in the daily newsletter. And if you don't read it, and if you haven't looked into it yet, it's free to sign up for. And Kevin does a great job. Not only does he do it, he recaps games. Him and the UT crew, Jeff Sanders, Annie Halbrin, they do a great job of giving you Padres coverage each and every day. But on top of that, Kevin takes some extra time for his newsletter, which is free. You don't need a subscription to the Union Tribune to read it. And his one today was very interesting in a sense that of his idea that the Padres are going to go and live and die with how their top six or their core six do. He says, forget about left field. Let's just talk about the core six. And whatever the core six does, is what's going to get you to the prom. That's going to be the ultimate results for your team, is what the core six does. The core six players for the Padres: Luis Arraez, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, and the last one on the list that I'm blanking on right now, as part of the core six, Jackson Merrill. Those six players are the real determination if you're going to win games or you're going to lose games. It's not left field. And if you look at overall, like yesterday's game, left field went 0 for 4 yesterday for the Padres. No hits. 0 for 4 again. Another bad performance out of a Padres left field. Did anybody notice? Did anybody care? No. Nobody noticed. Nobody cared. Why? Because the core six got the job done. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. But I think it's very important and very interesting. We have talked about on this show since the season has started about MVP candidates when guys have been playing really well. We talked about Fernando at the beginning of the season and Jackson Merrill being potential MVP candidates. And every single year that we talk about other players being very, very good, and guys like Fernando, and I still believe Fernando Tatis Jr. is the most athletic player on the field. He's the best player on the field talent-wise every single night. And usually it's not even close. And I will talk about that all the time. Fernando is the best player on the field every single night from everything he does. On the bases, to playing defense, to offensively, he is your best player on the field. At least most athletic player. And we talked about Jackson Merrill, what he brings to the table as a San Diego Padre. But the reality is, and I don't know if I'm denying it or I've denied it in the past. I mean, the team, it always continues to be, it goes where Manny goes. You know, regardless if you want to see Manny as a leader or not, I mean, we've seen articles written, and I've seen it in the clubhouse. I mean, he is a guy that leads by his play, you know, and I think there's debates on whether or not he is a captain. Does he deserve the C on his chest? That's something he doesn't necessarily want to be. That's why they have had this collective kind of leadership council for the Padres, that they brought Mike Schilt in, but originally to be able to do some of those things. And then that's what they've been able to do, is they've had this leadership council with a bunch of different players of the Padres. It's not just Manny Machado, because he wants to focus on playing. But you look at, and you go back to the core six: Manny, Luis, Cronenworth, Merrill, Bogaerts, Fernando. We talked about yesterday how poor everybody was with runners in scoring position since May 16th. May 16th seems to be a significant day for Kevin Acee. Obviously, for that kind of couple of weeks that the Padres offense hasn't been very good. But when laid out on how the Padres core six players performed from May 16th through Sunday, you look at the numbers. They are all relatively the same, except for one player. Fernando during that time hit $167. Xander hit .222. Jackson Merrill since May 16th through Sunday hit .209. Jake Cronenworth hit .214. Luis Arraez hit .259. None of their OPSs were very good. .677 for Arraez. Cronenworth with a .646 OPS. Merrill with a .555 OPS. Xander with a .536 OPS. Fernando with a .505 OPS. And when you look at weighted runs created plus, where 100 is an average player, we talked about that yesterday when trying to find a left fielder. All of them were under 100. Arraez, 90. Jake Cronenworth, 89. Jackson Merrill, 58. Xander Bogaerts, 57. Fernando, 45. Who is the one player that we have not talked about? It's Manny Machado. So when you are, and again, it goes with what Kevin Acee was saying, when the core six continues to play collectively at a high level, the Padres play really well. So you can forget about the catching situation. Again, we've talked about the catching situation before. The Padres do not view that as any type of offensive player. That is a defensive-only position for the San Diego Padres. So don't worry about the catchers contributing any offense. Last night, Martin Maldonado was 2 for 4 and hit a home run. You'll take it. But you can't rely or depend on Martin Maldonado or Elias Diaz contributing at the catching position. That's one factor out of it. The other one, left field. I mean, left field, again, is not a position of this team that's supposed to be help carrying the team. It's the core six that need to get the job done. So when the core six gets the job done, the Padres win games. When they don't win games. But despite the core six not getting anything done, since May 16th, the Padres have actually won games. And most of that has been, during the time I was on vacation, they're still winning games. And you're like, how can this be? But then you look at what Manny's doing. Manny Machado, since May 16th through Sunday, this does not factor in the last two games against the Dodgers, had a 279 average, a 330 on-base percentage, a 558 slugging percentage for an 888 OPS, and his weighted runs created plus, which averages in the average baseball player again of 100. He is 84%. He was 84% better than the average Major League Baseball player during that time in weighted runs created plus at a 184. Manny Machado, as much as we give credit to Fernando for being the most athletic player, as much as we give credit to Jackson Merrill being that clutch guy, that clutch gene that the Padres have, that young superstar in the making, this team has always been and will continue to live and die off of what Manny Machado does. I mean, he single-handedly carried the team for the last couple of weeks. Last night, you finally got to see other players contribute and get to that point. We laid it out yesterday in the left field situation. We looked at the list. And by the way, Frank and I were on to something because they had trade targets for the Padres in an athletic article, in the New York Times article by Jim Bowden. And we had all those guys on our list of who are the potential options for the San Diego Padres. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a lot of you're not getting a Juan Soto at the deadline, which I know is kind of extreme. But you're also not getting a phenomenal player that's going to change everything. You get a major upgrade to left field from what you currently have, but it's not going to be this dynamic change where all of a sudden you bring in somebody that's better than, or significantly better than anybody part of your core six. This team is relied on the core six. Again, nobody noticed that last night left field went 0 for 4 when your six players that you spent the most money on went out there and got the job done. You can't have a perfect position player in every single spot. It's roster construction. I agree with Kevin Acee in that sense. We knew that going into the season that the San Diego Padres were going to have to rely on Manny, Luis, Cronenworth, Merrill, Bogarts, Tatis. And when they're collectively hitting, they're doing well. And when they're not doing well. There's a couple of stats in there that I want to mention when we come back about the core six, but I also want to talk about this debacle that Dave Roberts had yesterday with the Los Angeles Dodgers and pitching Kike Hernandez, and what how disrespectful that was to fans and how insane that was, and hopefully how it's not a trend in the future. Does Kike Hernandez pitching last night show that Major League Baseball needs to shrink the amount of games they have? Or the Dodgers just, again, finagling the system? We'll talk about it when we come back as we continue. The Braden Surprenant Show, live from the Loft at the Western Metal Supply Company building at Petco Park. Getting ready for Padres and Dodgers. Coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. This is Hour 97 through the Fans, brought to you by Frozen Ropes San Diego. Hey, parents, here's a message from Coach Kurt with Frozen Ropes. As your child 6 to 12 years old, our Baseball Summer League is the perfect fit for your player. Starting June 16th through August 17th, Summer League includes 8 practices, 8 games. Go to SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. That's SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. So last night I go to the game. Braden Surprenant here. Frank Marchese back in studio. Frank's doing some serious surgical work on the computer after they updated to Windows 11 or something like that. I'm a Mac guy, so I only have to use the Windows at work. Aha, there we go. Mike swing.
Yeah, no, it is. It's Windows 11 now, which is fun.
Windows 11. So Frank is frantically working behind the scenes to try to get our systems up and running just in time for our show to be a short show today. And we'll be out of here. Tomorrow we will have the roundtable at 10 in the morning with the boys, and then we will be on after that for a couple of hours, getting you ready for as an off day. First off day for the Padres in a while. Try to finish up this quick little homestand of 3 games against the Dodgers with a W. Take 2 out of 3 from LA before getting ready to take on Arizona and then back to LA next week. So I got invited to go to the game last night by my buddy Johnny. We sat in his season tickets. They're pretty good, nice in 309. There's not a bad seat in the house really at Petco Park, especially in the first row of 309. It's almost like you're in the low or the second level. They've had so many different sponsorship names for that. Is it still the Toyota Terrace? I don't even know. I just remember what it was when I was like a kid growing up. So we go to the game, and the Padres are putting up big runs, and sacrificial lamb for the Dodgers is the minor league pitcher that they had last night that threw like 115 pitches and kind of had to wear it for the bullpen that's already beat up for LA. And then they decided to go with Kike Hernandez in the 6th inning. And I thought, well, maybe is there anybody else warming up? Are they going to get like another mop-up guy, or are they going to literally go with Kike Hernandez for the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th inning? And my buddy Johnny's like, oh, they're just going to keep him. They're not going to burn any more pitching, which I understand from a strategy standpoint. But the precedent it sets, I think, is so ridiculous. I mean, I looked at last night, and I thought it was an embarrassment to Major League Baseball to have I always think it's a kind of an embarrassment for a position player to pitch, because it's not even like he's going out there trying to pitch. I mean, it's just a mockery. It's embarrassing. If you want to do that for like a couple of outs, fine. A 9th inning thing, at the end of a game that you're already out of, fine. But from the 6th inning on, dude, that is such. I thought that was Bush League last night. I mean, I think it's insulting to the fans that spent good hard money to go watch a Major League Baseball game. That was the closest thing I thought you can get Major League Baseball to load management in the NBA. I mean, that was the closest thing. And here's my kind of warning on this deal. Again, from a strategy perspective, it makes sense, right? You don't have enough pitching that day. You won game 1. You want to stay fresh to try to win the series. In Major League Baseball, you're not going to win every single day. Why not punt on the game to save your pitching staff to try to win on Wednesday? So if the Dodgers win today and they take 2 out of 3, it worked for them. It works out. But here's where it doesn't work out. Now other teams are going to start doing the same thing. Like if you're the Padres and you win the first couple of games of a series and you got another team coming up later on, you're just like totally punt on a game and have, one guy just kind of wear it and then have a position player that doesn't play a lot because he's not very good go out there and just pitch for 4 innings. I mean, I think that's ridiculous. And look, I know you don't have any pitching. It's time you got to pull guys up, send them down. I mean, it's just it makes no sense. Fans in general, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I enjoy watching sports because I want to watch the best players in the world compete at the highest level. And what we saw last night is not the best players in the world competing at the highest level. I mean, it's difficult for the Padres hitters to go up there and try to have good at-bats when you're facing pitching that is ridiculous. But the Dodgers pulled everybody out of their lineup. They threw in Kike Hernandez, who's basically just the batting practice pitcher. That's the only reason why he's employed on the team. He doesn't really bring you anything, aside from talking a bunch of S and not really doing anything. He's just, I'm going to go out there and wear my little helmet on the mound and then just kind of lob up pitches like it's men's slow pitch. Danny Vietti put out the question on social media about, like, with that situation, is that a sign that Major League Baseball needs to cut down the amount of games played? I don't necessarily know if that's the reason why, but if you're going to have teams start to do this more and, like, have this kind of mockery just to, like, kind of go through the motions to make it to the end of the season, I mean, why are you playing all these games? I mean, I understand why. It's for money and it's a business. But at the same time, like, people aren't going to want to pay a lot of money to go watch that. You know, I don't get it. I think it was disrespectful for the people that wanted to go out there and watch the Padres play the Dodgers last night. They've already had like rules put in place on the whole position player to pitch situation. You have to be down a certain amount of runs now to do it, but it should be like, if you're going to use a position player to pitch, it's got to be the 9th inning, and that's it. I mean, that was embarrassing last night. And you can't have, and people in the chat are like, what about a mercy rule? You can't have a mercy rule, man. You want people there for 9 innings. This is a business. It's an entertainment business. Like, you have to understand, this is not college baseball. This is not high school baseball where, like, you're trying to, where it's about the game. This is entertainment. I've had this rant multiple times, but professional sports they're in the entertainment business. It's not the sports business. You're there to entertain. And what is entertaining to a lot of fans is the best players playing at a high level, not having Kike Hernandez go out there and lob it up like the guys at the Poway and Santee Sportsplex. I mean, you could tell that, I mean, it's going to throw you off a little bit as a batter. But look at Manny. I mean, Manny adjusted to that slow pitching after like 2 swings. Probably should have put one out if it wasn't for Kike Hernandez throwing at 40 miles an hour. I just thought that was ridiculous last night. You know, I always thought, you know, and we talked about it before with the Dodgers, and people are just going to hate the Dodgers, which is fine. I mean, I don't like them either. But like, for a long time in my life, even as much as I didn't like the Dodgers, I respected their organization for what they were in Major League Baseball. They did things, quote, the right way. The last couple of years, man, they just completely thrown out being the classiest org in Major League Baseball. The disgrace that they showed last year in the postseason with the BS on the sinister sling, that was so low for the Dodgers. I mean, that was embarrassing. Like, if you're a Dodgers, you should be embarrassed by that. You should be the class of Major League Baseball, and you're doing shenanigans like that. That's after you get this deferred payments on Shohei Ohtani. Disgrace to Major League Baseball. And then you do it again by just going like, we're not even going to try this game because we're going to make sure our bullpen's set up for the next day strategically, and we're going to throw a position player that's not even really good enough to be on a Major League Baseball team, and it's just going to be antics for 3-4 innings. 3 innings because the Padres are winning, so you don't have to worry about having thrown 4. I mean, it's the direction the Dodgers are going in is disgraceful. I think it's disgraceful. It's honestly embarrassing. I mean, they used to be a classy organization, and they just continue to do ridiculous things that make a mockery of the game. They made a mockery of the game with the way they assembled their roster, and then everybody just goes like, "Oh, anybody can do this." They made a mockery of the game last year in the postseason by complaining about the littlest things and trying to paint the Padres as villains. And then they make a mockery of the game a couple of times this year by throwing Kike Hernandez for multiple innings when they're just like, we want to save our pitching. Best team money combined. You don't have anybody come out of the bullpen and pitch and eat some innings? Utterly ridiculous. It's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed if you're a Dodgers fan. That's embarrassing what we saw last night. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Kevin Acee laid out the core 6 for the Padres and what they have done and what the Padres have done in the wins column. And there's a couple of interesting stats that I think that need to be pointed out when talking about the success of the Padres and their core 6. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back to the Loft, top deck of the third story of the Western Metal Supply Company building here at Petco Park as the Padres get ready to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers for Game 3 of the 3-game series. Padres took Game 2 last night, 11-1, as they bludgeoned the Dodgers. And you got to see, for the first time in a long time, the core 6 of the San Diego Padres do a lot of damage at the plate. It was laid out in Kevin Acey's newsletter. I think it's very important to talk about the construction of this team and what the direction of the team will go based on where they're at with their core 6. The Padres left fielder last night was Tyler Wade. Tyler Wade went 0 for 4, reaching base once when he was hit by a pitch. Did anybody notice, as Kevin Acey pointed out in his daily newsletter? The answer is no. Nobody noticed. Everybody was talking about the Padres scoring 11 runs. Everybody was talking about Kike Hernandez coming into pitch in the 6th inning. Padres evening up the series at 1 game apiece. You didn't talk about the left field situation. Why? Because the top of the order had 7 hits, and in the middle of the order had 6. Fernando Tatis Jr. said this: that's what we're capable of doing. We need to find a way to stay consistent on that. That was good. Kevin Acey lays out that he will not let the fact that catcher Martin Maldonado, who went 2 for 4 the home run, keep him from making his point. But this is Kevin Acey's point, and I agree with it. When you talk about the San Diego Padres and how they've been built, I mean, you could talk about the catching situation all you want. They are designed to be a defensive-only position. Any type of offense you get out of those players is a bonus. They are here to handle the pitching staff. And truth is, too big a deal has been made out of how the left fielder hits. I think we've been all on that. That was our topic of discussion yesterday on the show. Go get a left fielder. Padres need a left fielder bad. It is a big deal But the Padres left fielders and catchers is not the biggest reason the Padres offense has been underachieving. The biggest reason the Padres offense has been so underachieving and overrated has been that most of the guys who absolutely have to hit have not been doing so. Before last night, the Padres' core 6 players had combined for more than 6 hits in just 3 of the previous 21 games they had all started. Machado has been hitting for most of the season, but the rest of the core has been underperforming for going on a month. We talked about this earlier in the show to start the show. As laid out in the newsletter, some of the stats that were put out by Kevin Acee for the core 6 players: Manny Machado, Luis Arraez, Jake Cronenworth, Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr. Those are the core 6. And as some people have put in the chat how, well, that guy's not a core guy because of X, Y, they are. Do not lose sight of the fact or the reality this team is built around Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, Luis Arraez, Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, and Fernando Tatis Jr. That is what the team is built around. As they go, the Padres go. Not every night, but that's usually the case. Looking back to May 16th, from May 16th through Sunday, none of those players, except for one, who we talked about potentially being an MVP, had over a 100 on their WRC+. WRC Plus is weighted wins created plus, which is on a scale of 100 being an average Major League Baseball player. Arraez, Cronenworth, Merrill, Bogaerts, and Tatis performed under an average baseball player. Some under an average baseball player by 55%. That was Fernando since May 16th. On an average perspective, none of them hit above 259. Arraez had the highest average since May 16th, hitting 259. Cronenworth, 214. Merrill, 209. Xander, 222. Fernando, 167. OPS numbers weren't very good. The highest was Luis Arraez at 677, followed by Cronenworth at 646, Merrill at 555, Bogaerts at 536, Fernando at 505. The one player that was a little bit different was Manny Machado. He was off the charts. That's a big reason why the Padres still continue to win games during this stretch. Here's the other thing that was pointed out in the newsletter before we kind of dive into this conversation. The core 6 have played together 40 times this year, where all 6 of them were in the lineup. The Padres are 12-2 when those players combine for 7 or more hits. They're 11-15 when the core 6 combines for 6 or fewer hits. Offensively, the Padres' core players in the last month or so have not been very good. If you want to look at the deeper dive in the wins and losses, the core 6 players in wins have hit 356 with a 432 on base, a 543 slug, which gets you a 975 OPS. Everybody else on the team, the other 3 in the lineup of basically the catching position and left field, and wherever they're not having a position player, and the DH really, they're hitting 289 in wins, a 375 on base, and a 710 OPS. In losses, the core 6 have hit 229 with a 624 OPS. The rest of the team is at $185 with a 473 OPS. They've been slow for a couple of weeks, but they know that they could potentially make that jump. I thought last night was a good saying in seeing some of these guys playing. Again, a lot of people want to point out that, it was against a minor league pitcher and it was against Kike Hernandez. But I like the at-bats I saw out of a lot of the players. Hitting the opposite way. I mean, the lefties were just peppering left field yesterday. The same thing for righties over to right field. Some of the doubles down the line that the Padres hit. Outstanding. I mean, we emotionally cut Xander Bogaerts on the show yesterday in our sarcastic first hour of yesterday's show. All 3 of the balls he put in play last night were over 100 miles an hour. Dennis Lin had a great tweet about that, by the way. And maybe he made an adjustment, or maybe it's just a one-day sample size. But Dennis Lin last night talked about, and he put out a tweet about those 3 balls that Xander hit and the significance of those 3 exit velos that he put in play. He did strike out one time, too. He goes, yes, Matt Sauer was made to wear it last night, but Xander Bogaerts has his first game with 3 exit velocities of at least not just 100, but 105 since at least 2014. The Padres will take it. Absolutely, the Padres will take it. Xander Bogaerts had his first game with 3 exit velocities of at least 105 miles an hour. I didn't even need to know the exit velocities yesterday because I was watching the game, and that first ball I was like, that looks like he scorched that. And then his 2 hits that he had, he scorched. So maybe he could be able to turn it around a little bit. He was hitting the ball hard at least. They got to get Jake Cronenworth going too. I mean, Jake Cronenworth and Xander Bogaerts right now are like the exact same player. Look at their stats. I mean, their stats are almost exactly the same. Cronenworth only went 1 for 4 last night. It would have been nice to see Xander or Cronenworth get a hit with the bases loaded and nobody out and then 1 out. But 2 consecutive strikeouts there was rough, and good thing it didn't come back to haunt the San Diego Padres in last night's game. But as of right now, 2 of your core players seem to be playing like the same, and that's Jake and that's Xander. If those 6 players can play to a level that is expected, at least accepted, not just expected, but accepted, the Padres were going to get back on track. And I think June will be a month that it can happen. Exit velocity determines whether or not a player is really washed or not. If you're hitting the ball hard at an older age, you're doing things well. If you're not hitting the ball hard, and then that's when you get to the point of maybe the guy's cooked or anything like that. But the core 6 players, good night last night. Padres ended up winning. Going to need that again this afternoon. We have the Padres lineup. We'll get to that when we after we get to your phone calls. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Padres with the big win yesterday, 11-1. Getting ready for game 3 today. Padres trying to win the series over the Dodgers at Petco Park. First pitch will be at 1:10. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt will be at 12:10. Brad and Escondido are going to lead things off today on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, Brad?
Hey, Braden, how are you, man?
Doing well.
I really wanted to get in on yesterday's thing about Bogaerts, the hard ground ball to short. But hey, what about the kid from Miami, Stowers, their left-hander? That kid looked great when we played them. Is that an option?
The kid from Christian High School?
Yeah, Christian High School, good kid, great bat, left-handed.
Yeah, we talked about him a little bit yesterday as part of like our left field situation that the Padres could potentially address. And yeah, they're going to address that position. I mean, but the team is built around the core 6, as mentioned before. That being said, it's not. We're not sitting here saying that the left field is not a problem. It is still technically a problem. In terms of like players to go after. Now, you could go after a guy like Stowers. We talked about his contract yesterday. He's obviously younger and he's got years of control. If you make the move with Miami, I mean, I think there's a lot of other options out there as well. But it just depends on what the Marlins would want for a guy like Stowers. The other thing, too, that Frank and I discussed yesterday, and I don't know if it really matters that much, whether or not the Padres think it matters is a different story, but we talked about it yesterday because of Monday night not having a right-handed hitter to be able to come up late in the game as a pinch hitter against the lefty or to come in and be a DH from the right-handed side. You don't have one of those right now. So are you looking to potentially add a left fielder that is a right-handed hitter instead of a left-handed hitter? But right now, all of the, really left-handed hitter, all the potential left fielders out there on teams that are not very good, a lot of them are lefties. So we'll see what the Padres can come up with. I don't know if that's going to be that big of a deal for them if they're looking for that, but it was definitely an interesting topic of conversation. We both like Stowers. I think it'd be kind of cool to have the San Diego kid here. But at the same time, a lot of these teams are not going to be pulling the trigger for another month or so. So we'll see what the Padres decide to do coming up at the trade deadline. We'll have, of course, more news and notes about that. We looked pretty good yesterday, Frank, about after Jim Bowden put out his targets for the San Diego Padres in left field. All those guys were already on our list.
I think it just goes to show that we're not as dumb as we look.
That's right. And we look dumb. But you know what? We're not smarter than that.
I mean, the only one that was on that list that we didn't have was Lourdes Gurriel, but that was because we knew that Arizona was not going to trade someone like Gurriel here inside the division.
No, it's just never gonna happen. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I used to be, and then I mean, at the same time, like, as long as you're making your team better, you shouldn't have to worry. You're not playing games too much, but that doesn't mean that's not what some of these general managers are doing out there and the relationships they have with teams in the division. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Brandon in Carlsbad. I know he's going to be fired up after a game like last night. Brandon, what's going on, man?
Big B. Whew. All right, let's go, boys. Check this out. Okay, besides all the keyboard clowns in the chat yesterday, which shout out to Kevin from Chula Vista, we're going to DFA all those guys because they do nothing except hide behind that little comfort zone. Not me. I'm a frontline soldier. Now, yesterday was a prime example when seats can be seats and the batters that we need to wake up, and it gives the bullpen a rest. And mind you, I believe we're on day 12 of playing 26 games in 27 days. This is who we are, and this is what we can do. Now, yes, we got to address some of those issues, but we already know the catcher's position is for defense. The left field has some holes. But you know what? Like you said, man, when those core guys start turning on and we get a couple blips on the radar from the tail end of our batting, this is 11-1. You can talk about the Dodgers pitching all you want. We silenced their bats. Cease gave the bullpen a day off. And you know what? This is what we can do. So I'm fired up about that. I understand before I hear any of the little birds chirping on the line of what's going on. This is who we are. Let's go. Friar Faithful. Boom. Let's shut them out today. God bless.
Brandon, love the call as always. Get everybody fired up. He always gets Trav Gundy in the chat fired up every single time he jumps on the airwaves. But it's true. I mean, we're on 26 games in 27 days. I mean, they're in the midst of it right now without having a day off. Off day tomorrow. It'd be nice to get some good innings out of Randy Vasquez today. I was talking with Sam. I mean, this is a tough matchup for Randy. I mean, we have seen this Dodgers team be very patient at the plate over the last 5, 6, 7 years. This is a very patient hitting team that the Dodgers roll out there against a guy like Randy Vasquez, who is wild, and he walks a lot of players. He walks a lot of batters. He's got to stay in the strike zone today. He does give up some hits, but if Randy can make it through the day without walking a ton, it will help the Padres. It's a tough matchup for the Padres today with Randy Vasquez on the hill against this lineup. That's why it was very, very important to get the innings out of Cease yesterday. I said it yesterday at the game. I said, if you can get Dylan Cease through 7 innings, that's going to do wonders for your bullpen, because yesterday you really only had like one pitcher available. You went through the usage that the Padres bullpen has gone through on all these days in a row. And Kevin Acee pointed out in his newsletter yesterday about all the usage. In reality was the guys that didn't pitch on Monday were Adam and Morgan. Those are the only two. And as alluded, Adam could have used an extra day, and he got the extra day yesterday. So reality was you only had 2 guys yesterday readily available that you felt comfortable with. I'm sure there was going to be some guys that were hot that probably could have gone, but in terms of trying to keep your bullpen situation straight, that was great for the Padres to get 7 innings out of Dylan Cease and then let Morgan finish the game. He got such a big lead that Morgan could finish the game and get hit around a little bit. He only gave up 1 run, but that was huge. So now you have Adam on 2 days rest. Suarez got a day off. Estrada got a day off. I mean, all of your better bullpen arms got a day off, and they could be readily available today before you have an off day tomorrow, and then you get ready for Arizona. as part of this big stretch for the San Diego Padres, where they're trying to weather the 26 games in 27 days. This is one of two of their biggest stretches of the year. It started on May 30th against the Pirates. They took 2 out of 3 from the Pirates. They split with the Giants. They took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. And now is a big day today for the Padres against the Dodgers to try to take 2 out of 3. The end of this kind of stretch is, and you have the Nationals a part of it, but reality is after to the game today, you got an off day, and then you're going to have to go again for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 straight games before your next off day. It gets a little bit easier at the end of that particular stretch, but the tough stretch is from the Giants series, start of the Giants series on June 2nd to the end of the Royals series on June 22nd. That's the stretch of games that is the one of 2 very difficult stretches for the Padres in 2025. And currently on this said stretch, the Padres have a winning record. They are 1 game over 500 in this particular stretch. If they can play 500 ball during this group, or a little bit better than that, you're going to be in a really, really safe spot at the end of the year. That was the first stretch. The other one I think is in August, if we talked about this correctly. Yeah, August is brutal. You got, and right now the Cardinals are playing well, so we'll see where they're at in August. But August 1st starts a rough stretch. You play the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, the Red Sox, Giants, Dodgers, Mariners, who have been very successful against the Padres in the last couple of years. And then you finish up August with the Twins. And then who knows what the Orioles are going to be like. But that's the other stretch. I think that stretch is probably even worse than the one that you have right now. But if you can weather the storm and you can make it through this particular part of the schedule around 500, you're in a really good spot in the middle of the summer when you're going to be able to go through, some other inferior teams, and you're going to get some of those mixed in. And the Padres have done really well against those teams this year. The last couple of years, you couldn't say that. But the Padres this year have done really well against teams that are under 500, which is a breath of fresh air. We got lots more to talk about here on the show. We do want to talk about Dylan Cease. I mean, Dylan Cease last night, you could say what you want about the offense. Say what you want about the offense going against a minor league pitcher in Kike Hernandez. Dylan Cease faced the Dodgers' best yesterday. He had 11 punch-outs over 7 innings, only gave up 3 hits. Dylan Cease finally turning it around. We'll talk about that when we come back and get back to your phone calls as we get to hour 2 of the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hour number 2 of the Braden Surprenant Show, live from Petco Park at the Loft in the Western Metal Supply Company building. They're getting set up for all you fans to come into Petco today. Padres, Dodgers, Game 3 of the 3-game series. First series of the year for the Padres and their arch rival Los Angeles Dodgers. Love the energy the city brings when you play against Los Angeles. I'm driving down to Petco today to get into work. Got up this morning, early workout. Got the workout in at 7. Get your mind right. Be ready to go to start the day. I'm driving in down the 163. They're doing a little bit of construction on 163. I don't know what they were doing. They were setting something up. And one of the trucks had the marquee on it, right? That usually tells you the traffic pattern or anything like that. This one did not have any instructions on it. It didn't have any type of, work, expect delays and stuff. It literally just said, go Padres, and then flipped and went beat LA, which is super cool to see. Super cool to see. Love those. They showed that video at Petco last night. They had some videos of that with all the SDG&E trucks and the city trucks. That was their beat LA video on the video board, which was pretty cool. Padres video board does a great job. I want to give a shout out to Tim Golden, by the way. He caught Shohei Ohtani fouled off a baseball yesterday into the press box, into the Padres video board area. And Tim Golden, who works for the video board, he's also a counselor at St. Augustine High School, made a great catch on the Shohei Ohtani ball. And then the fun fact was talking about how he got the ball, which was awesome. So shout out to Tim Golden for making a great play. It was a great catch. Great catch. Video board media members are athletes too, Frank. Great catch last night by Tim Golden. Frank, if a ball hits you in the press box, you got a great seat up there. Are you making a play? Or are you diving out of the way?
No, I'm running away, man.
Protect the laptop first. Always protect the laptop.
It was last year, I forget who hit it, but somebody hit a ball. Dennis Lynn, who had just gotten up like a couple seconds before, line shot right off the middle of his seat, was hit so hard it bounced over the walkway and into the seats in front of us. I am getting so far out of the way after seeing that. I went to Jesse and Tony. I'm like, listen, I never would have made fun of you for diving out of the way of a foul ball. After seeing how hard that thing was hit past me, no shot. Absolutely no chance am I catching anything up there.
I'm trying to catch it, dude. I got to get ready for OTL, July 12th, over at Fiesta Island. You got to start working the hands a little bit. You got to be able to embrace it. I'm still trying to find a team for that, by the way. Huh?
Do you want hands or do you want to be ready?
I got the perfect hands for OTL. My fingers are not long and lengthy. They're a little stubby, which means catches all day.
Yeah.
Now, it's a little bit easier to catch an OTL ball than it is to catch a Major League Baseball hit by a Major League Baseball player, but you got to get the hands ready. You see a lot of OTL players out there in the stands that know how to make some catches.
If I had a glove, I'll flash some leather, but I ain't going bare hand on something like that.
Go play in the glove division there in an on-back. You ever played OTL, Frank?
Huh?
You ever played OTL, Frank?
I have not, no.
It's a San Diego institution. And unfortunately, they get the number. Hopefully, the numbers increase. I mean, I loved going to Fiesta Island in the summertime when you play in the big over the line tournament. Man, it's so much fun. I've played in the men's open a couple of times now. I didn't get to play last year. I was late on the signups, and it's tough because like coaching football, we always have our big battle at the beach passing league tournament that weekend up in Huntington Beach, where we play against, teams from the Trinity League and some of the best teams in California. And so, but I want to be able to, play in the Open again this year. I'm trying to piece together my team, but I got too many people that are like afraid. It's like, let's go play. It's not that it's fun, dude. It's like, I know tons of buddies that have teams and stuff like that. I'm trying to get my own team together. I'm trying to convince one of my friends to go out there and play. He played college baseball, and he's like on the fence. He has to drink enough where I could get him to convince him to play, and he'll be out there. But I mean, no, dude, my people are like, you can't recruit from your softball. My softball team doesn't want to play, dude. They don't want to play. They want to use, I don't want to catch with my bare hands, dude. It's fun. It's different, and you don't have to run. It's the greatest beach sport ever. You can play the game while holding a beer or whatever drink of choice you want. I see guys out there all the time play front row with a beer in their hands, snag it one hand. It's fun, dude. I love OTL.
I'll volunteer.
We need to get as many signups for that as possible, huh?
I'll volunteer as tribute.
Oh, dude, Frankie, you don't want to get in the way. If you're diving out of the way of a baseball, where are you gonna play in the OTL court?
No,
You should come out and hang out. Maybe we should do that. Maybe I want to go down there and hang out a little bit. I want to be able to play. So I got one friend. I got my guy Nicky might be interested in playing, and then and I'm trying to convince my buddy Mike. I had my friend Sam. He was logged in, ready to go. Sushi Sam was going to play. Dude's going to Vegas instead. He's going to Vegas in July. I mean, what?
Interesting.
I'd rather play OTL, dude, than go to Vegas. One year they gave us a team, like they gave the station a team, and like nobody wanted to play. And I was like, I'll play. And so I took the team, and I had my brother play, and then I had one of our other friends play, Michael, and we actually did pretty well for we didn't get to practice or anything like that. It was super late. But I go out and practice. I'll go hit. I mean, I don't practice as much as the guys that win the OTL tournament, but I'll go out there and hit. I don't go down to I should go down to Mariners Point and play some pickup because those guys are really good. But I'll go hit at the park in Scripps Ranch and work on some things. My boy, my guy Eric Hilton, that guy, I usually get him out there to help play because Eric he's good enough. He's so good at his teams are always good at OTL. Him and Joe and the guys on his squad, they get a bye. They don't have to play the first weekend. They get a top 16 seed. They don't have to make it through the first weekend in tournament. I'm getting a bunch of DMs saying they want to play. Hey, OTL, let's go. Let's bring it out there. You know what? If you want to play, if you want to have OTL and start a team, get out there and start a team. We'll get you some Braden Surprenant Show shirts. Let's get some Braden Surprenant Show shirts out of Fiesta Island. What do you think about that, Frank? Got a bunch of teams out there repping the show. I think it'd be great. I'm hesitant to name my team anything contra. So the team names out there are hilarious, but I feel like I can't be. I don't know. I think your team name needs to be approved if I'm going to put your I'm going to send you a T-shirt.
Yes.
Or hook you up with some T-shirts. We'll figure out a way for that. But I want to get if you want to get the. I'm not paying for your team. You got to pay for your own team, but I'll get you a shirt if you want to be a part of the Braden Surprenant Show Windsock OTL crew. We'll get you some Braden Surprenant Show shirts. I'm getting a new order in anyway that I've been handing out, so we'll maybe make some OTL Braden Surprenant Show shirts for you guys. So I'm gonna go. I'll be out there. Regardless if I'm playing, I want to play, and I got to put a team together. But after that, if you want to rep the Braden Surprenant Show out at OnBack, let me know. Send us a tweet at the Braden Surprenant Show at B_SUR at the B_SURP show or at BSURP or at Frank Marchese's social media. Give me a reach out. We'll get some Braden Surprenant Show shirts out there. But if I play, Frank, you got to come out. We got to make it a show thing.
No, I would definitely play. I'm diving out of the way of a major leaguer hitting a ball at me. But if it's like Mike in Scripps Ranch who's had a hip replacement, I'm not getting out of the way of that. I'm diving for it. Are you kidding me?
Replacement. Prolific says he's in. All right. Brock wants to play. Let's go. We got to get more people playing OTL out there with OnBack, man. It's a San Diego staple. We got to get more. We got to get the younger crowd out there playing OTL. I won it when I was 14. I won the junior OTL championship, which was so much fun. But you can't just go out there and swing baseball style, man. You gotta go out there and you gotta get the OTL swing. It's a different it's a different game. My team name should be the Win Sox. Braden Surprenant's Win Sox.
That is perfect. That is bang on perfect, by the way.
Oh, man. The tournaments are fun, dude. They have tons of tournaments for the big one. I just don't have time to do all of those. I know they got a couple at Mariners Point. I know Fiesta does a couple other ones. I think there was one this weekend. One of the kids I coached at Cathedral, he just graduated, I think. This year he plays baseball there. I saw on his Instagram he played too. So get the young crew out there. They have tons of kids tournaments too. Get your kids involved. The kids divisions are glove. Get your kids out there playing OTL on a Sunday. It's fun. It's a blast, and they teach you how to play the game and everything like that. It's a great time. 97.3 The Frogs. I love the names now too. It's great. And the other thing too, but Christmas said it right. Once upon a time, you used to have to, was it Beachcomber? Is that where you had to go? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure you had to go down to the Beachcomber on a weekend or whatever like that, like early in the morning, stand in line to sign up for this tournament. If you weren't there in person on that day, you would have no chance of getting a team in for OTL. And then you would also, there's no nonsense over there. No bleep questions, I think, is one of their rules at OnBack. Team shirt sponsored by Boar's Head for Frank's Cold Cuts.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
We'll do that. We'll have Braden's Win Sox, and then we'll have another team sponsored by Frank. And it'll be Frank's Cold Cuts out there at OnBack coming up on July 12th. I always want to play, dude, and I don't even if my team magically does well enough to go to the second weekend, I don't want to play this. I just want to play the one weekend. I don't want to go out there for a second, but we'll let the OnBack guys reach out about that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Do we still have those two callers, Frank?
Yes, we do.
All right, let's get out to Clay in the South Bay. Clay, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine, Braden. I mean, great W last night. And if you noticed, Dylan Cease is only sporting the stash again. Hopefully that's his secret to success. It was great to see him gut it out and actually pitch as many innings as he did. Got his 11th.
He's Doc Holliday again. He's Doc Holliday again, Clay. I'll be your Huckleberry. He's got the mustache rolling. I love it.
Exactly. But and it did tick me off. Let's tell you earlier, but it ticked me off too whenever the Dodgers kind of rolled up their offense or their team, took their ball, went home, and brought everybody else out into the game just so they could, sleep for 3 innings. But getting past all that, sometimes, and people can say what they want about the pitcher we faced yesterday, but they can always say it. But, sometimes we make the lesser pitchers look like Cy Young. I mean, sometimes we go into games and, shoot, they just beat us like a drum. But what I really want to focus on is Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. Freeman's the only one out of the 3 that's actually been pretty much hitting. But Ohtani and Betts have been held pretty much, shall we just say, hitless, minus 1 or 2. But I think our pitching staff has been doing a great job. Yesterday was nice to see the team actually get contagious hitting. Get up, everybody's getting a hit. They're rocking it. They're doing what they were doing earlier on in the season and last season at the end. So I hopefully we're turning the corner, and let's get another W today. Let's beat LA.
Absolutely, Clay. Couldn't say it better myself. That's the pitching staff has done a great job. It's been the pitching staff and Manny Machado that's been carrying the team for the last couple of weeks, and that continued again last night. I mean, Dylan Cease was really good, and hopefully that's the coming to that Dylan Cease needs to be that pitcher that you expect him to be for the San Diego Padres in a contract year. I mean, he's competing for a contract, not just with the Padres, but with the rest of the teams in Major League Baseball. And he kept saying, I saw it with, Eno Saris had the discussion with Dylan Cease. I mean, he's been saying he feels the best he's ever felt. Feels great out there pitching. So hopefully this is the turnaround he needed. I mean, he faced a really good Dodger lineup yesterday, and he did so well. They started pulling their guys, and the offense gave the help as well. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Derek, what's going on, man?
My man, brother. Hey, Braden, I'm sorry if I'm behind the times a little bit. The Stash game was fantastic on your trip, but I've been down chasing a trophy truck at the Baja 500, so I just got back. So I got a question for you because I got a message for J.D. Wicker. Has San Diego State hired a baseball coach yet?
I don't think they have yet. I mean, I heard your boy was getting looked at a little bit, your boy Rusty Filter. So I don't know if that might be in play. I've seen a lot of the names out there, that might that have been on their big target list. It sounds like they're going to spend a little bit more money on baseball, which is, or at least more resources on baseball. That's the rumor, Derek. So maybe that is the case. Hopefully that is the case because, Tony Gwynn Sr. was keeping that program alive for a long time, and it'd be nice to have San Diego State put a lot of more resources into a program that has produced a lot of great Major League Baseball players. And when you got Aztec for life and alumni and Brock Ungrich running USD and winning conference championships year in and year out, it'd be nice to have all three teams in town be really good at baseball and a really good baseball city, Derek.
Yes, sir. I agree with you 100%. Now, here's the deal. I'm not saying Rusty, because Rusty and I were teammates, and yeah, I'm lobbying for that guy. Okay, we were teammates, and I'm not saying we never lost to USD. I'm not saying we never lost to UCSD, because we did when we were there. But here's the deal. We expected to win. We were San Diego State. We expected to beat USD. We expected to beat UCSD. That was the standard. And here's the deal. Rusty Filter is a dude. We have to bring a dude. If he wants to recruit dudes, we need a guy that is a dude. And Rusty is that guy. The guy was at San Diego State for years as a player, as a pitching coach, and then lo and behold, oh, that's weird. He gets the number one draft pick in the Major League Baseball draft, and then lo and behold, Stanford snaps him up. And now he's at Santa Clara, and he's recruiting against Stanford. So he's at Santa Clara. Now the record's sub 500. Okay, well, when you're recruiting against Stanford, that's pretty hard. He's a dude. J.D. Wicker, if you're listening, there's one name. It's Rusty Filter. Hire this man. Let's get San Diego State baseball back from the embarrassment that they've become.
Well, Derek, you'd have two San Diego State Aztecs potentially in town running the two major college baseball programs, both products of Dennis Pugh over at Mission Bay High School. Be a nice little local story for that. How's the trophy truck watching going? My uncles used to race in the Baja 1000 in years past. I haven't been down there for a race. My uncles like to go down there, but how's that environment been like?
You know what? It's great. I'm kind of bougie, Braden. I'm not going to lie to you. I've kind of graduated to the point where I'm flying down with the guys that fly the helicopters that chase the trophy trucks, and it's pretty cool. Our guy that we were chasing crashed at race mile 70. Not good, but he was doing really well. I'm not going to name his name. He kind of ticked us off a little bit, but anyway. The trophy truck racing down in Baja is fantastic. It's such an awesome scene. I love Mexico. It's so fun to go down there, and especially now that I'm Mr. Bougie Boy that flies down in a helicopter and back. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot better than having to drive all the through the desert and everything like that. Derek, appreciate the phone call, man.
Yes, sir. Take care, pal.
Derek in La Mesa. San Diego State Aztec alum, man. The baseball alumni want to see the Aztec baseball team get back to a higher level than they've been in the last couple of years. That's for sure. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll continue to preview Padres and Dodgers when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Braden Surprenant Show live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. A little bit of a short show today. We got Padres baseball coming up at 1:10. Padres Dodgers game 3 of a 3-game series between the two NL West foes. Padres took game 2 last night, 11-1. Dodgers took game 1 in extra innings, 8-7 on Monday. So the rubber match today. Randy Vasquez toes the rubber for the San Diego Padres. We'll get you the starting lineup in just a little bit. We do want to talk a little bit more about Dylan Cease. We got a couple more things that we want to get to before we pass it along to Sam Levitt in the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show. He'll be doing that up here at the Loft. Gates open at 11:30 here at Petco Park, but some people are starting to trickle in here to the Loft. And again, if you're up here and you want to get here early, we'll still be up here for the next 30 minutes or so, and then Sam Levitt will take over at about 12:10 p.m. Pacific time. Again, Loft, great place to check out. They got tons of beer and stuff and drinks and spirits that you can hang out and have a good time. They got Pop-A-Shot. They got pinball machine. They got pool up here. It's a great time getting ready for Padres baseball up here in the Western Metal Supply Company building. I did have a couple people tweet out about the on-back situation with the signups that I never had to partake in, because now you can sign up online. I think you can still sign up, and I need to if I want to actually play in this thing. But Evan de la Mesa on Twitter goes, OTL signups were always at 6 a.m. at the Beachcomber. It was usually Cinco de Mayo weekend. You'd have to stand in line and wait until they opened at 9 a.m. along with 1,000 other hungover people. I'm glad I've never had to do that. Although it'd be kind of fun. I mean, it's just, that's when the tournament was selling out, and hopefully we can get more people signed up for over the line. It's always a fun time. I've already had like a handful of people reach out about playing. So hopefully I can get a team. I put a team together, Frank. Braden's Wind Sox and Frank's Cold Cuts, 2 teams out there for on back. Again, if you want, we'll hand out shirts. The shirts will be free. I'm not paying for your entry fee. But we'll supply some shirts if you want them. Let me know. DM me. I'll get you Braden Surprenant Show OTL shirts for you for the over the line tournament, and we'll get that hopefully for you before July 12th. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. One more caller on the line. Kevin at Chula Vista want to weigh in. Kevin, what's going on, man?
Hey, Braden. Thanks for the opportunity once again. And before I get to our good friends, that classy organization in Los Angeles, let me put a challenge out to all of the intelligent folks in the chat. We keep talking about who the Padres want for a left fielder, et cetera. So here's the other side of it. You have to have a trading partner. That means you have to have something that the other teams want. So I want our people here that like to think about all these wonderful trades that they think can happen. Who do the Padres have that other teams want as a trading partner? That's the key to getting anything done. You've got to have a dance partner here. And I don't hear any names being mentioned outside of maybe Dylan Cease, maybe the shortstop DeVries. After that, it's a bag of rocks. And you're not going to be able to trade a bag of rocks to get somebody even halfway decent in left field. Now, put that challenge out there, put it aside for a second. Let's talk about that classy organization up in Los Angeles. Braden, I'll say this. Back in the day, when the O'Malleys ran the team, the Dodgers were actually a classy group that you looked up to. They conducted themselves with honor and dignity. The nonsense that they pulled last night and all the other nonsense that they pulled in the offseason lacks any degree of class and dignity, and has besmirched the reputation of that great organization that used to be great. So this is where we are and what we have with Los Angeles, and they don't understand. They better understand now. This is why we hate them, and most of the rest of the baseball community hates them, because they have turned themselves into a classless ball. And to do what they did to that pitcher last night, forcing him to throw 110 pitches, was absolutely demeaning and inhumane what they put that man through. And there needs to be an investigation into the Dodgers as well. Finish up with this last thought. See what you think. It's going to be an amazing September for the Dodgers, because all of a sudden those 15 pitchers that you have on IL right now, I'm going to bet that a lot of them all of a sudden get healthy for the playoffs. I think they're
well, Kevin, some of those pitchers are out for the year. They were
Yes,
put on
I
the
know
injured
that.
list last year into this year,
Yeah.
not expecting to pitch, which kind of like they like to, everybody's bitching and moaning that the Dodgers have 14 guys on the injured list. Start looking at some of the names on the list. I mean, they'll get 3 or 4 of those guys back, but a lot of those guys were never going to pitch anyway, and some of them are just non-factors. It's just kind of like a sob story for the Major League Baseball's favorite team. We like to say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. Major League Baseball's favorite team are the Dodgers, it seems like.
Well, like I said, I understand that a lot of them are out for the year, but there's going to be enough of them coming back, Braden, that all of a sudden they're going to get healthy. Blake Snell is going to find the fountain of youth. I mean, it's all coming. And this is how they've conducted themselves. The reason why they've loaded up on all these pitchers in the first place. They got the money to do it. Great. But you know what? We hate the Dodgers. That's the last thing I'll say. They need to understand they're a classless group.
Absolutely, Kevin. I'm honestly disappointed in them. I mean, they used to be, and we talked about it before, a classy organization. They're just not anymore. It's embarrassing. Their organization's embarrassing with their antics over the last couple of years. But that's, I agree. Now the thing with the trade thing, you do need to have something. But the left fielders that we mentioned yesterday, Frank and I, which by the way, we're not as dumb as you think, Frank, as we talked about. Jim Bowden had all the same names that we came up with yesterday for a potential trade in terms of targets for the Padres in left field. And the thing is, though, is A.J. Preller's a wild card. I mean, you could be talking about the same guy over and over again, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, well, maybe this guy might be an option, and you go, I don't think that can happen. And then in 2 seconds, all of a sudden he's a member of the San Diego Padres. So it's a big X factor to build a big wild card for the Padres, but I like the some of the names on the list, but a lot of those names on the list, like, they're not going to cost you a lot. I mean, there's some arms in the minor leagues for the Padres that are not like, Mackenzie Gore, but you don't need those Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abram, types of like the players that you gave up for one. So you're not going to need those types of players to acquire a left fielder, especially if it's a rental. That's why we looked over the list. To me, the ones that stand out the most are rental pieces. That's why we talked about the potential deal. Maybe you swing a Ryan O'Hearn as a DH and a Cedric Mullins from Baltimore. Now, the downside of that, they're both lefties. You really need a right-handed hitter. It would be nice to have a right-handed DH, but maybe something like that might be in the works. We've talked about it before with Dennis Lynn reporting the Padres were interested in acquiring Jarren Duran from the Boston Red Sox. If you're a Padres fan, you better hope the Red Sox start to lose, because they're starting to win right now and get themselves out of a situation where they would be selling at the deadline. But the one thing with the Red Sox is they have minor leaguers pushing Jarren Duran out. They have top prospects that are outfielders that are pushing Jarren Duran out. He is an asset that they don't need, but what they need is pitching, and the Padres don't have that at the ready to trade away. So those are some of the things that might play out in the next couple of months. But as we mentioned before, and everybody always wants a left fielder tomorrow, there's only a handful of teams that have, at this point, given up on the season that would make a trade this early in the season. Not to say that we haven't seen it before. I mean, Preller acquired Arise last year very early, but that Marlins team last year was like the Rockies this year. To an extent. I mean, the record was a little bit better last year than the Rockies are, and the Rockies are an anomaly. But those are the type of teams you're talking about that make trades way before the trade deadline. Historically, there's always a exception to the rule. But as we talked about before, when it comes to the Padres and the way that they're built on their core six. And if their core six does not perform at a high level, they're not going to win. You can't ignore the fact that the core six is built to carry this team. And then when they don't, blame the left field and catching position. Yes, left field and catching for an offensive perspective is a problem. But the bigger problem is you need your core six players to accumulate more than 6 hits. That is what you're looking for if you're the Padres. You need your core 6 players getting more than 6 hits combined in a game. If they do that, they're probably going to win. If they don't, they're probably going to lose. That's the team that the Padres have built in 2025. You can blame left field all you want. And we've done our fair share of blaming the hole that is in left field in the rotating position that really, like, of players that play there. And that does need to be addressed at the trade deadline. But at the same time, understand that the problem is Bogarts, and the problem is Cronenworth, and the problem is, Tatis having the month of May that he had. The problem is Luis Arraez getting off to one of the worst starts in his career to a season, even though he's still hitting, 270. That's not Luis Arraez level numbers. But think about all those things that are impacting. Jackson Merrill has had a rough last couple of weeks. So hopefully, Fernando, this is the month of June. The month of June is a big month for Fernando historically. So maybe this is the sign of come where he can start to get hot again. I think the summer months are going to really take this offense to a new level. But we'll see. And hey, hopefully that starts today. Frank, do we got to take one more break? I can't remember. I think we have one more break, right? When we come back, I'm going to get you the starting lineup for the Padres. We're going to talk a little bit about Dylan Cease in the outing he had yesterday, what Mike Schilt had to say about Dylan Cease, and we will also get you a sports thread to finish up the show. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese back in studio. I'm here at the Loft at the Western Metal Supply Company building, getting ready for Padres Dodgers, Game 3 of the 3-game series, leading you into the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt at 12:10. We will continue at the Braden Surprenant Show when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Coming up on Thursday's show, we'll have the roundtable with the whole crew. We'll recap the Padres-Dodgers series and get you ready for the Diamondbacks this weekend. Start filling nicely here at the Loft, top level of the Western Metal Supply Company building. Braden Surprenant show, leading you into the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt. Sam's going to have a one-on-one with Ruben Niebla coming up during the pregame show, so stay tuned for that. Padres and Dodgers getting ready for Game 3 of the three-game series. A rubber match today after the Padres took down the boys in blue 11-1 yesterday at Petco Park. Today, Randy Vasquez will get the start for the San Diego Padres, as we will get you today's starting lineup for the Padres. A little bit different today. Xander Bogaerts is going to be the DH today for San Diego, as Jose Iglesias will play shortstop. That's the most notable thing that I saw on the lineup. And as I pull it up right now, leading off and playing right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second and at first base, Luis Arraez. Batting third and playing third base is Manny Machado. Jackson Merrill starts in center field and bats cleanup for the Padres. Gavin Sheets batting fifth, playing left field. Xander Bogaerts, the designated hitter, bats sixth. Batting seventh and at second base is Jake Cronenworth. Batting eighth and at shortstop, Jose Iglesias. And batting ninth and catching is Martin Maldonado, coming off a 2-for-4 performance last night with a home run to left field. Always love seeing the home runs out of Martin Maldonado. I saw a tweet. It was like, have you seen like those memes where it's the text emoji or not text app on an Apple phone, and it has like 1 or 2 on there as a notification when it's my birthday, and then they had the same thing with like 47 text messages. It says when Martin Maldonado hits a home run. Call the family, man. I mean, that was a big moment last night. Martin Maldonado getting a bomb for the San Diego Padres. Super cool to see. So Maldonado will catch today for Randy Vasquez, the starting pitcher for your Padres. Again, Tatis Jr., Arraez, Machado, Merrill, Sheets, Bogaerts, Cronenworth, Iglesias, Maldonado, and Vasquez, the starting pitcher for the Padres. Starting pitcher last night in Dylan Cease was exceptional. I mean, he was up to his ace-like stuff yesterday. Got the win for his second win of the year, 2-5 now after he was able to knock down the Dodgers yesterday. Cease went 7 innings, allowed 3 hits, shutout baseball, 11 punch-outs, and 5 walks through 103 pitches, 68 for strikes. Of those 5 walks, I mean, there was 1 inning where he walked the bases loaded and was able to get out of it, which was great to see out of Dylan Cease. He had been talking about how he's been feeling really great. He's been talking about he feels his pitches have been very good, and he just hasn't really been able to fully put it together until last night. What a great outing it was. What did Mike Schilt think about Dylan Cease's outing yesterday? Here's what he had to say in yesterday's postgame.
Dylan was really good. We got into that starter 7-inning spot that is really important to us, and obviously we were able to open it up with a lot of relentless at-bats throughout, top of the lineup, carrying the weight for the most part down through bogey, but the whole team effort. Maldi contributed the 9, but yeah, it was important.
There's a couple. Cease getting to be this guy. How important would that be for you guys here?
Huge. Huge. And the way he did it tonight is a great blueprint for it. Dominated 0 and 1-1 counts. So he's just, first 3 pitches were 2 out of 3 were almost all strikes. So he does that. It's earlier outs. It's sets him up for the strikeout that he clearly has and wants, but also allows him to get earlier outs, which wins for, 100 pitches, 7 innings. That's pretty much the recipe.
Dylan Cease's outing last night was great for the bullpen because the bullpen has been overused for the last couple of weeks and all these days in a row. Last night we looked at the bullpen usage chart, and last night going into last night's game, there was only 2 pitchers that hadn't thrown the night before. It was Jason Adam, who probably needed an extra day of rest anyway, and it was David Morgan. And Morgan came in to pitch. He was really the only guy available last night for the San Diego Padres. And the fact that Dylan Cease could eat 7 innings and then you can let Morgan give you 2 innings because your offense was so good was a huge move for the San Diego Padres. That equals the Kike Hernandez trying to save the bullpen for the Dodgers yesterday. So great to see that. That outing for Dylan Cease was so important for the bullpen. Here's what Mike Schilt had to say about that.
the starting pitching going, being able to go deep in the game is a big part of it. Not to force it, but to be able to do it and do it effectively. So that's a starting point. And then you mentioned the bullpen. I mean, especially in the stretch of games where we are in, you can be a little bit more aggressive with your bullpen if, you're in a stretch where we were at the beginning of the season, first 5 or so weeks where days off were more available, but they're just not right now. So we've been having to, and the guys have been great in the bullpen, as we all know. No bullpen's perfect, clearly, but we've relied on them a lot, and they've picked their spots for them and been able to get them where they need to be for the most part. But that's not a recipe you want to hold on to for a long period of time. And then also coupled with, the offensive numbers that allowed us to go and just Morgan grab the 8th and 9th and have a little breathing room. So all that's important for those reasons.
That was manager Mike Shildt yesterday, post-game after the Padres' 11-1 victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers. They'll try to win the series this afternoon against L.A., as Randy Vasquez will be going against a very patient lineup for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Randy Vasquez does walk a lot of batters. It's a tough matchup for Randy. If Randy can make it through 5 innings, I think the Padres will be in really good shape. But it's whether or not he can throw strikes and not allow a lot of traffic on the bases. This is not a matchup that's very good for Randy Vasquez. So it's going to be a tough one today for the Padres against the Dodgers. We'll see if they can take 2 out of 3 from LA here at home. They will play them again next week in Los Angeles with a trip to Arizona in between against the Diamondbacks coming up this weekend. I do want to mention Mike Shildt, as we heard from him moments ago. He will be on Ben and Woods on Friday. Tune into the Manager's Report with Mike Shildt this Friday at 9 a.m. on Ben and Woods. Manager's Report is refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. We're continuing our baseball coverage here on 97.3 The Fan. That is presented by T-Mobile at T-Mobile.com. I get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. And I do want to mention, I hadn't teased it today. I totally forgot. We are still giving away tickets to Padres and correct. We have other tickets to give away. We have those tickets to give too. We have multiple tickets to give away today. We have tickets for the Padres and Royals game, and we're going to do that right now. The Padres and Royals game for June 21st, as the Padres will celebrate. It's like a Star Wars weekend that weekend. So if you are listening right now and you want to go to the June 21st Saturday game against Kansas City, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you are the 5th caller to call Frank right now, you will win tickets to the Royals-Padres game on June 21st. 5th caller, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I see Rod over here at the Loft trying to call in to get some tickets. We'll see. Good luck to Rod here at the Loft. But 5th caller, you'll win tickets to see Padres and Royals. Once Frank has that situated, since we poorly planned this, I do have to give away tickets to a Quezon event. Our sister station at the country station, Quezon's All-American Summer, starring Scott McCreery, is this Saturday at Front Wave Arena. You're ready for a night of red, white, and red, white, and you at Quezon's All-American Summer. The party is happening Saturday, June 14th at Front Wave Arena with Scott McCreery, the band Perry, Kelsey Hart, and Will Mosley. Grab your tickets before they're gone at AXS.com. So, and this is hard to do. So once Frank gets us a winner, we're going to throw out the phone line again and try to get rid of the Quezon tickets before we make Frank, who is now an octopus, touching it, being a bunch of limbs all over the place, running a bunch of different things back in studio, can get us ready for the sports thread to finish up today's show. So I think we got a winner already for the Padres tickets. So congratulations there. And once Frank gives me the okay, we'll try to give away the country tickets coming up this weekend at Front Wave Arena. We don't have a noon lunch hour today because we're ending at 12:05 to get you ready for Sam Levitt and EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. But our noon lunch hour is brought to you always by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors, 2 locations, Surprenant Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. Today, I'm here at the Loft. I'm going to watch a little bit about the Padre game. I keep telling, I coach football at Cathedral Catholic, and it's starting to get football season. So we got our preseason coaches meeting coming up later today at like 3:30 in the afternoon. So at some point, I'm going to have to leave the Padre game a little bit earlier than I would like. And I'm going to cruise up the coast. I'm going to cruise up Interstate 5. And for lunch, I stopped by Craft Taco, get myself a taco before leading into the meeting I have to go to. It's super easy to get. It's a little interesting to see once you get there the first time. It's a great place. It's in Surprenant Valley. It's off Interstate 5 on the west side of the 5, just south of the 56. It's one of the best tacos you'll get in town. Craft Taco, big sponsor of ours here on the Braden Surprenant Show for the noon lunchtime hour. Frank, I don't know when we can get to this. We're having a show meeting on during the show right now, but we do have to. I know the fair has started.
Yes.
We do have to do like a lunchtime hour food deal on the fair. I mean,
Yes.
we gotta be able to do the food from the fair. Maybe we should go out there and do some social media content for the fair.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
I'm not going to devour my own thing, but I might have to. We might have to sample a lot of different things for the show.
You're going to be eating
we'll
a lot of it because I won't be able to get it down. Well, because again, I can't eat nearly as much as I used to. So
we got to find somebody to eat it for us.
that's even better. That would be
We'll get
even
some
better.
We'll do food reviews with different people at the fair. That's not a bad idea. That might be something that might play, Frank. That might play on social media.
Just might. We are ready for those KSON tickets, by the way.
Okay. Well, who won the Padre? Do you know?
Rob in Little Italy, winner.
Rob
for
in Little Italy.
Yes.
Congratulations to Rob. He'll be going to the Padre game. Fifth caller, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you're a fifth caller, you will win tickets to this weekend's Caisson All-American Summer, starting Scott McCreery this Saturday at Front Wave Arena. You're ready for a night of red, white, and you at Caisson's All-American Summer. The party is happening Saturday, June 14th at Front Wave Arena with Scott McCreery, the band Perry, Kelsey Hart, and Will Mosley. Grab your tickets before they're gone at AXS.com. Country concert coming up this weekend. Fifth caller, you will win today's tickets for that. Just giving tons of things away right now on the Braden Surprenant Show. Loft is filling in nicely. A lot of Padres fans today. Here for the day game. Padres trying to take 2 out of 3 from the Los Angeles Dodgers. It will be Randy Vasquez on the hill today for San Diego. We're going to get to the sports thread to finish up the show once Frank is all set with giving away the Caisson tickets. But giving away tickets left and right. I don't mind that idea with the fair food. I just don't want to eat all of it. My favorite thing at the fair, and I guess we're kind of teasing this. Maybe we do this on Friday. My favorite food at the fair, and this has changed as I've gotten older, but they have and I don't know if they're still there. I bet you they are, but they have garlic fried artichoke hearts. Those are delicious. I'll eat those any day of the week. Now there's a lot of stuff like Chicken Charlie's over there. That's the deep fried Oreo hits every single time, and for some reason the cheesecake on a stick dipped in chocolate and either sprinkles or chocolate chips on it, another fair quality deal. When I go to the fair, I'm not a big rides guy. I'm not a big thrill seeker. I mean, my level of ride is like Disneyland. I can do all rides at Disneyland. If you try to increase more than that, I'm just probably not getting on it. I'm not afraid to admit it. That's just I'm not into the rides. So if I'm not that into the big rides, I'm not going to be that into rides that are just been assembled a couple of weeks before I got there. So not doing the rides. But when I go to the fair, this is what I got to do. I got to walk around. Traditionally, I've always had to go check out the flower stuff with my mom because my mom would love looking at all the flower displays that all the high schools do like that. So that's usually part of the plan now. But I want to play a stupid game that I know I can't win. I will play at least one of those stupid games. I don't even need to win. I need to play one. I want to sample some of the food. I like walking around, checking out some of the deals. That's what I do when I go to the fair. We ready to go, Frank?
Oh, just about.
Guy's working out back there. He's doing a radio producer workout. If he's decided to save all of our ticket giveaways for the final 10 minutes of the show. Are you ready for the next thing? Maybe I can throw something else at you right now. Like, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. The Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
That. Hold on. There we go.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hey, it's Chris Ello. We talk Padres, but I like to steer the discussion in the direction of the Aztecs as well. Listen for yourself. Gwen and Chris, 2 to 6 p.m. weekdays on 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station. You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
Here's Frank Marchese, a man of many talents, a man that's been all over the place today.
I hate you.
And a man that's
so
been
much.
being heckled by Jocelyn for the last 48 hours.
Yes, that is something that's been very, very interesting.
She
I
wants
will
the
say.
tea, dude. Like, you got to learn. Like, Jocelyn always wants the tea. She's going to want the tea.
That's, you know what?
That's not part of the sports thread, though. So that's your
It's-
warning shot from Jocelyn. Let's get to what's
It's
trending
fair.
in sports.
It's absolutely fair.
Number 1.
All right, a very strong field and an extremely difficult course cannot stop bookmakers from making Scotty Scheffler a historic favorite to win the 125th U.S. Open. Scheffler shows plus 175 odds to win the 2025 U.S. Open at Oakmont Country Club, according to ESPN Bet. That makes him the largest favorite for any men's golf major since Tiger Woods was a plus 225 or shorter for every major in the year of 2009, though he would not win any of those tournaments. Scheffler surpassed his own personal best major odds of plus 325 going into the 2024 U.S. Open. Scheffler have that good a shot at winning the U.S. Open this weekend?
I mean, at this rate, the people that bet on Scotty Scheffler, it's like better than getting returns in the stock market. We are not betting advisors. Don't take that advice. But I don't know. It's hard not to make him the favorite in almost every major right now coming up with the way that he's been able to play, and he just continues to win. Gotta like Xander Schauffele. 7:30. He tees off at 7:30 in the morning on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
You going to wake up at 4:30 to watch the first group tee off? First couple groups tee off? You know,
No.
man, probably not. Probably not. But hopefully the San Diego guys do well in the U.S. Open coming up this weekend. I just got to know. You know what? I said it before. Sushi Sam in the YouTube chat that we see all the time,
Mm-hmm.
he had 500 on Justin Rose in a live bet when he was like struggling to win 50,000 for the Masters.
Not
and
bad.
then lost it on one hole, dude.
Oh, no. That's not good.
That's rough, dude. That's
That's-
why you don't get. That's why I don't. You can't go in the deep dive of some of the betting, man.
Nope.
The house always wins.
Yep. All the time.
Number 2.
The United States gave up 4 goals in the first half and looked unprepared for next year's World Cup by getting routed by Switzerland 4-0 in a friendly on Tuesday night in Nashville. A lot of the blame is being shouldered by the head coach, Mr. Pochettino, who was coaching Chelsea at the beginning of this year. The whole point of last year's World Cup for the U.S. was to get these young kids ready for this year's World Cup when they're at home and they can show out. With this type of performance against a team that the U.S. should beat, should this signal a coaching change before next year's World Cup?
I mean, how many coaches are you going to go through if you're the U.S. national team right now? I mean, they're athletic, but they look unskilled in soccer.
Yes.
I mean, we don't have an athlete problem. We have some of the best athletes in the world, including ones playing soccer. And I know some of our best athletes are playing football and in the NBA and playing Major League Baseball, but the athletes we have playing professional or soccer for the U.S. national team are good. They just look unskilled. We need to be – I don't know how it has taken us so long to not – I mean, just be competitive. I mean, they got run out of the building by the Swiss last night. I know it's a friendly, but it needs to be better. And I don't know how many I mean, you can continue to keep changing over head coaches. It doesn't seem like it's been a major difference.
No, it was very, very bad yesterday. 365 days from today, the World Cup kicks off. So not great, especially with your top player, Pulisic, opting out of these friendlies to rest after a Serie A season.
Number 3.
All right, I know we hate the LA Chargers here, but Jim Harbaugh said on Tuesday that he had successful cardiac ablation and hip replacement surgery over the off season. He said, quote, "Doctors can't find anything wrong with me now. A grade." In a game against the Denver Broncos in week 6 of last season, Harbaugh, 61, had a flare-up with an atrial flutter and a type of arrhythmia that usually causes the heart to beat abnormally at an abnormally high rate. Harbaugh went to the locker room where paramedics treated him, and his heart eventually returned back to his normal rhythm. Good news for Jim Harbaugh, of course, going into this year, that he's got a clean bill of health.
Yeah, that's great news. That was scary in Denver. I remember watching that going like, what is going on? I mean, that's stuff that, especially with his age and everything like that. So I'm glad everything's been taken care of and it checks out. I mean, regardless of what teams you root for, you always want to root for humans at the end of the day.
Absolutely, 100%.
Number 4.
The Edmonton Oilers could be selling on this Stanley Cup final here, as their head coach has not decided on a goalkeeper for game number 4 after being drubbed 6-1 by the Florida Panthers in game 3. Series now 2-1 to the Florida Panthers and consecutive losses. And Coach Chris Knobloch said on Tuesday he has not decided whether or not he will go to Stuart Skinner or will go to his backup, Calvin Pickard. If you're guessing on which goaltender you are going to use for game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals, you may have already lost the series, right?
Yeah, which would suck for Canada, wouldn't it?
It absolutely would.
Not winning the cup again would be great. I'd love to see that. I kind of love the trolling that happens at this point in time with that. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in to the Braden Surprenant Show. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt. Coming up next, Padres Dodgers, game 3 of the series. After that, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow on the Roundtable on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. See ya.
George